Try it again. Today I'm sharing with you the traveler's notebooks that I use for travel. I use the traveler's notebook system for a lot of other purposes, like writing my novels or taking notes, but these are the ones that I use specifically for traveling. I'm gonna be totally honest, I don't travel a whole lot except to go visit my family back in Minnesota. Ever since I moved to Washington in 2021, I now fly home about 3 to 4 times a year. So I'm not gonna be sharing any tips or useful information, but I do hope maybe that you can find some sort of inspiration with this, or at least be entertained by how complicated I make everything. Let's get these out of the way. Do you like my little camera? My mom bought it for me because she had to replace the one that she broke at the zoo way over a decade ago. First, I will talk about my black passport. This is from the Travelers Company. I have this folder here that I use to store stamps and stickers. I have this lined notebook that I use for jotting down random notes while I'm on vacation. I don't travel with a lot of my journals, so I will write down what I need to update them with when I get home. I have a sticker release booklet, and I filled it with a lot of travel themed stickers. Then I have another insert. This one is set up to be more of a reference. I have a basic packing list here that I use as a jumping off point. I need a lot of makeup. I have some TSA guidelines that I always forget and have to look up. Oh, hey. I saw the aurora. What? Oh, that's exciting. I got this list from a travel blog, but unfortunately I don't remember which one. Anytime I come across any travel tips, I will add it in here. I just love how it looks. I love the feel of it. I love how small it is. It's so cute. Let's do this one. This was my first Travelers Company journal. It's in the blue color. I made up a few beaded bookmarks to use with this. I stuck in a folder from Temu. This is from a bookstore that I went to a couple weekends ago that I still have to add to my journal. This is my current travel insert. I'm on volume 3. This one I actually embossed. I didn't do that for the other 2 volumes. My contents page. I can't share too much of my actual journal pages because they have a lot of private information in them. Look at, I beat my mom at rummy. Ah, she says I cheat. I don't cheat. And then I think I beat my brother at Battleship about 5 times. He didn't win at all. And he thinks I cheat too. It's strategy. I stuck in this watercolor book from Travelers Company. I used it once to do this demented looking teapot, and that was it. So it's in here for next time. Next I have my brown Travelers Company cover, and I made a bookmark with a dragonfly and some green beads. I, for the longest time, was like, why would anyone spend as much money on these clips? But then I bought it, and now I get it. It's very useful, especially when you're traveling, to hold your notebook down, and it looks really cute. For my current travels, I'm on volume 3. For my past travels, I'm on volume 6.5. I didn't start using a traveler's notebook until 2019. So all of my trips before then, I used to just throw all the memorabilia, all the ticket stubs and everything in a photo box. It wasn't until my photo box became over full that I was like, okay, I need to actually do something with this. And I decided I wanted to start this little project where I journal about my old trips. Starting with my 2011 trip to Vegas with my mom. She took me for my 21st birthday. It was obviously a very long time ago. I got the boarding passes here. We went to the Hoover Dam, and then just some stuff that I thought I would want to use to decorate it. So I have a sticker for Nevada. We went to 2 shows, Tournament of Kings and Matsuri. This one was a bunch of acrobats. One of the fun things about revisiting these old trips is actually looking at the photos for them. I haven't looked at a lot of these photos in like over a decade because they are stored on backups of my old computers. Here's me being super uncomfortable posing with the dragon guy at the Tournament of Kings. Gorgeous. This is where we stayed at the Luxor, and this is me in front of Excalibur. Gorgeous. Here's the Hoover Dam and me posing awkwardly in front of a tree. Gorgeous. And here I am being windblown in front of the Hoover Dam. Did I only have one shirt or was this only one day? So gorgeous. I don't have any pictures of my mother because she's a vampire and they don't show up in photos. I'm very slowly working on this project, trying to figure out exactly what we did these days. I set this up in the same way that I have the other one set up. All I've done so far is just Vegas, baby. When I finish an insert, I store it in this archive book from Traveler's Company. So I have volume 1 here, which I started in February 2019, and it is thick. This looks like I put an apostrophe here, but it's just the corner of the stamp. So annoying. The first entry I have in here is seeing Egypt sunken cities at the Minneapolis Institute of Art. Phoenix to see ATs. These have these little metal bars that you stick the insert through. And I don't know how many I'm going to be able to fit in here, especially with this first one being so thick. This is the first traveler's notebook that I purchased specifically for travel. As soon as I saw this color, I was like, this is going with me to Scotland or Ireland whenever I get the chance to go. Unfortunately, this has only gone with me to Duluth, Minnesota. This has 4 strings, so it can hold 4 inserts comfortably, although you can add more. I will admit this is a little too big for taking on a short trip, which is why I will usually use one of these. It's a lot thinner. The notebooks that I showed you earlier are ones that I will take with me on my travel. These are set up for brainstorming and researching trips that I want to go on. I write down in here all these kind of things. So books to read, places to see, what not to do, like cultural notes. It's just a place where I can jot down all this stuff for later reference when I want to actually travel to those places. This is where it started. I was reading Meet Me at the Museum and they talk about the Tolan Man in it. I thought that would be a really interesting thing to see, so I wrote it down. And then since then, it has expanded into lists upon lists. At this point, it's not so much even just about going to these places, it's about learning the culture and history of a lot of these countries. So this one, I ran out of pages. Although it's not completely full yet, I have more room for places like Sweden and Poland. So I started another insert. This one's a little bit more organized. What's funny is that I was checking out a ton of travel books from the library, and the travel book, A Journey Through Every Country in the World, I didn't realize it was a children's book until I went to pick it up. I checked it out anyway, and I learned a lot. That's whatever. I wrote in all the countries. and then other territories. The travel book had a lot of, like, it has a brief overview of each country, so I was able to just pick and choose a few interesting facts and write it down in here. I also started writing in the capital and the currency that they use. Is this information I could easily find on the web? Yes. Do I remember any of the information that I wrote down? No. Was it fun? Yes. Do I regret it? No. And then in this last insert, I have US travel destinations. So each state has its own page. At the top, I have a star for each time I've been to the state. And then, like, I'm from Minnesota, so I gave that one a heart. I've been to Wisconsin more times than I can count, so that one also gets a heart. And I currently live in Washington, so that one gets a heart. A lot of the places I write down in here are stationery shops, bookstores that I want to go to, books that I want to read that are set in the state. I recently went through National Geographic's Great American Parks and wrote in all the national parks that I thought I would like to see. I just find these lists to be a great starting point for planning a trip. Back here, I have an old map of Midwest indie bookstores. I got this at a indie bookstore in Two Harbors, Minnesota. Let's see, which ones have I been to? The Sweet Peas, that's where I actually got the map. Drury Lane, that one's a cute one. The bookstore at Fitger's. I've been to Mayors and Quinn. I've been to Wild Rumpus. It's adorable. They have lots of animals. Red Balloon is one I used to go to all the time for book signings and author events. This is a Chic Sparrow in the Odyssey leather in the color Apollo, and it's actually a wide size. I only use this because I didn't have another use for it. It was originally for a novel that I was working on that I have since scrapped. I recently got this with my Cute Things from Japan order. It's just a little pamphlet that talks about traveling to Japan. I started an insert specifically for researching a trip to Ireland years ago because it's one of my top travel destinations. I didn't get very far with my research in here. Here I just started a list of things that I want to do. Not fall off a cliff seems like a pretty good one. And then recently I've started going through my old Victoria magazines. Yes, I am an old lady, okay? I subscribe to Victoria. Instead of just recycling these after I read them, I rip out the pages and stick them in a few of my notebooks. Oh my God, look at that desk. Here, I might as well show this now. I'm gonna get this out of the way. I have this really beat up binder that I used in college. Mwahaha. In this one, I had all the Vegas stuff that is now in here. And this is a trip I went on with my boyfriend's family to California back in 2014, I want to say. Then I went on a trip again with my boyfriend's family to Maryland. And then I went to Chicago in 2015, I want to say. And to Orlando with my boyfriend's family. Again to Chicago with my boyfriend's family. My family don't travel. They don't like leaving the house. They pour. Another trip to Vegas for my friend's wedding. Then I have a folder for interior design and like inspiration for a dream home. England. Look at that. Like, that's gorgeous. Italy. And then France, which I already pulled everything from this. I was so cool in college. When I do finally go to Ireland, I will probably take this with me, as well as a completely new insert that I will actually journal about my trip in. It's not the prettiest, but it's not meant to be. I'm just trying to do research. In the very back, I have movies, shows to watch. If you have any recommendations, please leave them in the comments. Books to read. I just love the idea of becoming totally immersed in the culture and learning the history before I go to a specific country. I want to visit castles, but I don't want to just look at it and admire it. I want to know who ruled in that castle. I want to know who built it. I want to know who died in it. I'm trying to be a little bit more organized with France and Italy. These are two that I recently started working on. I haven't started my list of things to do yet. Books to read. These are the ones that I own by French authors. Beautiful. I have to print out a map and put it in here. My handwriting is gross and I don't care. That's all I have in here so far. This has some wax bloom on it. I hadn't been using this for a while. It was just sitting in with the rest of my unused journal covers, but I needed a place to put these, so. I am collecting dust as I'm sitting here talking. I'm taking forever. These aren't really vibing, these colors, you know? Do you think it's a little overboard how many notebooks I have set up for traveling when I actually don't go anywhere? I think it's a bit overboard. Research, old project, current travel, useless, setup for fun. What do you use to journal about your trips if you do journal? How do you sentence? Thank you for watching. Bye. You got problems. So many problems.